Hi girls, gays, and theys. My name is Jess and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. Today I'm at my mom's house and visiting my parents. Don't worry, I don't just have random photos of myself on my bookshelves in my house, but it's honestly kind of perfect that I'm filming this video in my, well, this isn't really my childhood home, but a home that I spent some of my growing up years in, because Speak Now by Taylor Swift was one of the albums that raised me. I think it came out when I was in 8th grade in middle school. It is still, to this day, one of my favorite Taylor Swift albums, and with the release of Taylor's version, that just really solidified it. Speak Now just speaks to me, pardon the pun. So, of course, I had to incorporate it on this channel in some way, and so I'm going to be recommending you a book for every single song that is on Speak Now, Taylor's version, including the new From the Vault songs. I am super excited. I feel like I picked out some good recommendations, so let's just jump right into it. The first song on the album is, of course, Mine. You remember we were sitting there by the water, you put your arm around me for the first time. Do you remember that kiss hands kept tight? You are the best thing that's ever been mine. For this song, I'm going to recommend the book 6 Times We Almost Kissed and the One Time We Did by Tess Sharp. This is one of my new favorite books that I've read in 2023, and I can't stop recommending it because it is incredible. This is actually a YA contemporary romance between two girls who have grown up together because their moms are friends, but they've never really seen eye to eye. But throughout the course of this story, as their moms move their families in together, because one mom donated a organ, I can't remember if it's a kidney or a liver or something, to the other mom, they combine their households while they recover, and these girls learn to understand each other a little better, grow closer together, and have a bit of a romance. This book was so incredible, so beautiful, and I really loved how Penny and Tate were just in each other's corners, ride or die, no matter what. Their relationship and seeing it grow through the page was incredible, and I really loved the familial relationships and the parallels and how the girls learned about themselves as well as one another. I feel like this book perfectly encapsulates mine, especially with the lines, "You learn my secrets and figure out why I'm guarded. You say we'll never make our parents' mistakes." Because in this book we learn that Penny and Tate's moms are both very flawed characters, and Penny and Tate are there for each other kind of more than their own families are, so their relationship is very similar to this line. And honestly, just the whole vibe of the song really fits Penny and Tate's romance, and I really love this book, so please read it. Next, of course, is Sparks Fly. Doesn't have to hope you couldn't see, but I was thinking drop everything now. Leave me in the morning, just be on the side, take away the pain, 'cause I see sparks fly whenever you saw. For this song, I'm going to recommend Prince and Bodyguard by Tavia Lark. This is a male-male fantasy romance that you can find on Kindle Unlimited, and it is literally incredible. It follows Vanna and Daromir. Daromir is Vanna's blood-bound bodyguard, basically, and they both have kind of grown up together and grown together in this kingdom that's not necessarily their home, but they are each other's shelter in the storm. They love each other so much, even though they don't quite realize it at first, and it takes a couple nudges from fate and different things for them to finally realize that they are meant for one another and that they belong together. But it was very much a instant connection between the two when they very first met, and I really feel like Sparks Fly just encapsulates this book, especially with the lines, "The way you move is like a full-on rainstorm," because Vanna actually has weather powers and he can control the weather. He definitely can make a rainstorm happen. And you stood there in front of me just close enough to touch, close enough to hope you couldn't see what I was thinking of. Really encapsulates Vanna because he kind of discovers and realizes his feelings before Daromir, and he spends quite a bit of the book pining, worrying that Daromir is going to find him out, and that's going to really change the dynamic of their relationship in a negative way if Daromir doesn't feel the same way as he does. So this line really gets me. And get me with those green eyes, baby. Also, Daromir has striking green eyes, and Vanna also used to have striking green eyes, but then something terrible happens. So green eyes are a big theme in this book. So that's perfect as well. Also, I'm on guard for the rest of the world, but with you I know it's no good, because Vanna just has to put on this front for the kingdom and for his people and everything that he does, but behind closed doors with Daromir, he's a completely different person and he can be himself, and Daromir's really the only one he can be himself with. This is such a perfect match. Please read this book. Next is Back to December. The absolute only book I could recommend for this song is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane. I feel like this book was probably partially inspired by this song. It definitely has a lot of Swiftie references woven throughout. This book's perfect for this song. This book is a second chance romance between Ellie and Jack. Last Christmas, a year ago, Ellie and Jack had a one day meet cute whirlwind romance, but then something happened and they never spoke again. Ellie has kind of been hung up on Jack all of this time, but she's just trying to move on with her life. And so she agrees to this weird fake dating, fake engagement deal with I think he's her landlord of her coffee shop or her apartment or something. But it turns out that this man is actually Jack's brother. So they go to family Christmas together and Ellie is confronted with Jack once again, and she has all of these feelings about what happened last December, and if only they could truly be together, she would be happy again. So this book is so perfect for this song. So this is me swallowing my pride, standing in front of you, saying I'm sorry for that night, and I go back to December all the time. Maybe this is wishful thinking, probably mindless dreaming, but if we loved again, I swear I love you, right? I'd go back in time and change it, but I can't. So if the chain is on your door, I understand. All of these lines, I can just picture Ellie singing to Jack, and it would just totally explain their relationship and how she feels. Match made in heaven, I swear. Next song is Speak Now. Don't say yes, run away now. I'll meet you when you're out of the church at the back door. Don't wait, say a single loud. You need to hear me out. Let's speak now. This is one of my favorite songs when I was younger. I just thought it was so romantic, the idea of standing up as someone is getting married and being like, no, don't do it. I don't know. I just like the story of the song. I think it's really fun. And for this song, I'm going to recommend another Tavia Lark book. Forgive me, this will also not be the last Tavia Lark book that I'm recommending in this video. They just fit this album so perfectly because they're just enchanting, whimsical fantasies, and I feel like that's what this album is about. So anyway, this song is Getting Prince and Pawn by Tavia Lark. This book has an arranged marriage, but the arranged marriage is not between the two love interests. So you see where this song comes in? It's perfect. Basically, Corinne and Audric have a anonymous one-night stand. They don't know who either of the other is, but they have this instant connection, this instant spark, and they really, really like each other a lot. But the problem is, the next day, as Prince Audric is meeting his new betrothed, he finds out that it is Corinne's brother. And Corinne has arrived at the castle as well as part of his brother's entourage party. And so they're like, shit, I wish I was marrying you and not your brother. What are we gonna do? Which is exactly pretty much what happens in the song Speak Now. This song in this book perfectly encapsulate the other. Also, I love it, so please read it. Next song is Dear John. Fun fact, Dear John is my personal favorite track 5. I know that's a little controversial when All Too Well exists, but I love Dear John a little bit more. Sorry. This is actually the only queer book on this list, but I could not recommend this book for this song because it is really the only book that I could have recommended for this song, and that is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is actually a YA thriller, but at the core of it is a really important message about abuse in the music industry, which is Dear John in a nutshell. I think I would say Taylor and John Mayer's relationship is a little less brutal than Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, but they're along the same vein. I believe Grown was actually kind of inspired by the R. Kelly situation. In this book, we're following our main character, Enchanted Jones. She is very young but has dreams of breaking into the music industry when she is spotted at an audition by this legendary R&B artist named Corey. And he kind of takes her under his wing, has an inappropriate relationship with her. They have a very large age gap. Corey ends up dead and Enchanted has blood on her hands and she's not quite sure what happened, and that's kind of where the mystery unfolds in this book. This is a very powerful, very well written story with a lot of important things to say, and I think it definitely has some of the themes of Dear John, and we'll leave it at that. The next song on the album is Mean. You can take me down with just one single blow. You don't know, someday I'll be living in a big old city and all you're ever gonna be is me. And the book that I want to recommend for this song is Hanny and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jagadar. This is a YA contemporary sapphic romance and it is super cute. The story follows Hanny and Ishu as they hatch this scheme to fake date, mostly to prove to Hani's friends that she is indeed bisexual, because when she comes out to them, they really put her down and don't believe her. Ishu comes to find out that Hani's friends put her down a lot for a lot of different things, including their shared South Asian heritage, as well as being bisexual, and just basically the way she is. They put her down all of the time. So that really reminded me of the bully that Taylor sings about in Mean. And I also love the aspect of the song as Taylor is really confident in herself that she's the bigger person and she's going to be totally fine despite the bullying, and all that that person is ever going to be is Mean. And I feel like Issue really helps Hani realize that throughout the course of this story, realize her worth and find her confidence, which I feel is so important and so sweet. I really liked this book a lot. I thought it was really cute. And yeah, to me, it just makes sense. Next song is The Story of Us. For this song, I'm going to recommend Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Now, I'm really due a reread of this book, but I felt like it was perfect for this song. If you somehow don't know, this book follows Alex and Henry. Alex is the first son of the President of the United States, and Henry is a Prince of England, Prince of Wales, something of that nature. I can't quite remember exactly. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they have a very kind of like public, well-known animosity between them. So this is a bit of a enemies to lovers story. The enemies doesn't last very long. They quickly become friends and like secret lovers, and have to decide if this relationship is worth like coming out for, and how they're going to do that, how they're going to survive that, play that kind of thing. So although The Story of Us is ultimately a sad song, I feel like it is kind of the meat and potatoes of Red, White, and Royal Blue, because it kind of tells the story of this like almost forbidden secret relationship, or it could be if you interpret it this way. So I feel like the lines like, now I'm standing alone in a crowded room and we're not speaking, and I'm dying to know, is it killing you like it's killing me? I can just imagine like Alex and Henry at this party knowing they're in love with one another, but they can't show it because of what the world will say and what the ramifications of that will be. Same with the line, why are we pretending this is nothing? And, but I would lay my armor down if you say you'd rather love than fight. I don't know, like I can just see them singing this to each other before the happy ending, you know? Next song is Never Grow Up. Don't you let go, don't you let go, just say this little. Oh, darling, don't you let go, don't you let go, say this simple. I was having a little bit of trouble with this song, but I feel like I found a really good recommendation for it, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. In this book, we're following Delilah and Claire and their romance, and they kind of have a bit of a like forbidden romance, because Claire is best friends with Astrid, who is Delilah's stepsister, and Delilah and Astrid hate one another, but Delilah is back in town for Astrid's wedding. Claire doesn't originally recognize her, so they flirt together at this bar, and then Claire's like, what the hell, why didn't you tell me who you were, kind of thing. Even though Delilah has always kind of been attracted to Claire, but Delilah doesn't live in this town anymore. Claire lives in this town with her daughter. She's a single mom. So there's a lot of different moving parts in this relationship, and finding out whether they can make it work or not, and if they want the same things, if they can get on the same page. And also along the way, there's this fun plot of them hating Astrid's fiance and trying to get her to not marry him. So I picked this book for Never Grow Up for two different reasons. This song kind of takes us through Taylor's childhood, you know, like she's really young in the first verse, she's kind of like a teenager in the second verse, and she is like coming of age into adulthood in the last part of the song. So I can really picture like Claire and her daughter as being the first kind of verse of this song. Don't ever grow up, just stay this little. I can picture Claire like saying that to her daughter, because throughout this book we kind of see Claire struggling with being a mom and her daughter growing up and being a single mom, that kind of thing. But then the second part of the song, where it's talking about Taylor coming into adulthood and she's in her own apartment in a big city all by herself, I can picture Delilah as that half of the song, because we kind of come to find out that even though Delilah likes to act big and tough and like she loves New York and really wants to be there, there's a lot missing in her life, and she really wishes she had never grown up or maybe had a different childhood. And I feel like a lot of this book, Delilah is kind of healing her inner child and rekindling a relationship with her stepsister Astrid. So I feel like there's lots of similar themes of this song in this book, and it really is a pretty good match, if I do say so myself. The next song is of course Enchanted. This was the very protection. Now where it's going on you. I got to let go one day until I see you like that. These are the words I held back as I was leaving too soon. I was enchanted to meet you. Enchanted is such a lovely, wonderful, beautiful, romantic song, and of course I have to recommend a lovely, wonderful, romantic book for that. And so I'm going to recommend Prince and Assassin by Tavia Lark. Or Tavia Lark, I'm sorry. Still not the last one though. In this book, we're following Whisper and Julian. Whisper is a hired assassin, and he has been hired to assassinate Prince Julian. Prince Julian does not know this. He thinks Whisper is just somebody who works in the castle. But when they see each other, they have a instant connection, and they develop a bit of a romance, and then Whisper is like, shit, I'm in love with this person. How am I supposed to kill them? So yeah, a very interesting premise, a very good premise. I also love Whisper with all of my heart. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, I don't know why, he's just my baby. I love him so much. But I feel like their meeting was kind of similar to this. Like, this book is set in this fantasy world with princes and balls and things like that, and Whisper and Julian just kind of randomly run into each other in the castle, and Julian is instantly like drawn to Whisper and keeps like inviting him to things and wanting to become his friend and get closer to him and that kind of thing. So Julian was definitely enchanted to meet Whisper, and Whisper was like, oh shit. Next is Better Than Revenge. This was actually the very first book that I put on this list because it's just so perfect. That is We Are Never Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. So you can probably tell by the title, this book was definitely inspired by Taylor Swift. Has a lot of Swiftie references throughout. Might have even been inspired by this very song. This book follows Maya and Sky, who are both the exes of this boy named Jordy, who's kind of famous. I don't remember what he does. He's not really important. But basically, he is the new bachelor on this show, and instead of inviting random girls to participate in this bachelor-style show, they're inviting all of Jordy's exes to like see if they can rekindle like a second chance romance kind of thing. So Maya and Sky are both his exes. They both get invited to participate on the show, and they both agree. Maya, because she wants to get revenge on Jordy, and making him fall in love with her and then breaking his heart like he broke hers. And Sky, because she hopes that she can kind of rekindle their romance, like she actually wants to participate in the show. Maya hates Sky because Sky was the girl that came after Maya. She really hates her kind of the same way that Taylor is not a fan of the girl in this song. So Maya definitely encapsulates this song, but the twist of this book is that Maya and Sky fall for each other. It's really cute. The next song is Innocent. For this song, I'm going to recommend Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This book follows Wallace, and as we start the book, Wallace has just passed away. And he has crossed over into the afterlife where he meets Hugo, who is a man who helps spirits cross into the afterlife by helping them come to terms with the life they lived. We come to find out that Wallace is not a very good person. He was not a very good person in life. And so he has a lot to come to terms with before he's ready to pass on. And Hugo really helps him with that. He really gets to know Hugo, and Wallace is really trying to make up for the bad things that he did in life once he kind of realizes the things that he did in life were bad. And along the way, Hugo and Wallace fall for one another and have this really quiet, beautiful, lovely romance. And this book is wonderful. One of my favorites of all time. It definitely made me cry quite a bit. I feel like this book is perfect for this song, and especially for Wallace, because this is really a song about like learning to forgive yourself, in my opinion, and learning that you're worth others' forgiveness, like even if you mess up. So I feel like Wallace can definitely relate to that because that is something he definitely wants. Minds change like the weather. I hope you remember today is never too late to be brand new. Especially that today is never too late to be brand new. That's one of my favorite lyrics. Like that little bridge is one of my favorite bridges. I think it's very underrated. And I feel like it definitely applies to Wallace in this book and just him coming to terms with his mistakes and trying to be a better person. And it's lovely and beautiful. And I love it. Next song is Haunted. In my opinion, this is one of the most underrated songs on Taylor's discography. It is definitely in my top 10 of all of her songs. I love it so much. And for this song, I'm going to recommend Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Now, this one might be a little bit on the nose because it is a love story between a boy and a ghost. But I feel like that's kind of a funny comparison, you know? So, Yeah, basically Cemetery Boys is about our main character Yadriel, who is a trans boy, and in his traditional Latinx family he is having trouble getting them to accept his gender identity. And in his family all of the men are brujos, meaning they can like summon ghosts from the dead, I believe. And so to prove himself, Yadriel does just that, except he does not summon who he is trying to summon and actually summons Julian, who is the town's resident bad boy that died mysteriously. Julian is not going to go back to the dead easily and without finding out what happened to him, so Yadriel agrees to help Julian out, except they fall in love along the way. But this is a problem because Julian is a ghost. So like I said, I feel like it just hits the nail on the head for Haunted. Haunted is kind of about a relationship that ends suddenly. Sorry if the angle changed, my phone died. So, you know. Anyway, as I was saying, Haunted is about a love that ends suddenly and you're still haunted by the like presence of that person in your life and you can't believe that they're truly gone. So I feel like this book just nails that concept, as Yadriel is haunted by Julian in more ways than one. The next song is Last Kiss.
Said I thought living your clues. All that I know is I don't know how to be something you miss. Never thought we had a last kiss.
One of my most controversial Taylor Swift opinions is that this song is overrated. I definitely think it's beautiful. I've just never really connected to it personally, I think. I don't know. But I found the perfect book recommendation for this song, and that is Cool for the Summer by Dahlia Adler. This book is a second chance romance between Laura and Jasmine. Last summer, Laura and Jasmine had this like beautiful whirlwind romance. They really like truly loved one another and connected with one another. But then as the summer, Jasmine ghosts Laura, and Laura's like, what the hell? And has no idea what happened until Jasmine shows up at her high school the next fall. This is kind of like a Grease retelling, I think, in concept. And so now Laura's life is finally falling into place. This boy that she's always had a crush on has finally asked her out, but then Jasmine comes in kind of like the love of her life, complicating things, and Laura's like, I don't know what the hell to do. And throughout the book we kind of get flashbacks to Laura and Jasmine's summer romance, and I feel like that is what really encapsulates the song The Last Kiss, because Laura and Jasmine had this really beautiful summer romance, and Laura had no idea that it was going to end so suddenly, and in the way that it did, she really didn't think it was going to be their last kiss. And especially because this romance was kind of like a secret romance, which I feel like Last Kiss kind of alludes to as well, with the lines, the words that you whispered for just us to know. You told me you loved me, so why did you go away? That is very Laura and Jasmine. Also the fact that it references July 9th in the song, and it was a summer romance. And all that I know is I don't know how to be something you miss. I never thought we'd have our last kiss, like I mentioned before. Just the fact that this romance between them ended suddenly, and Laura doesn't know why it ended. And so Last Kiss definitely describes the like whirlwind summer romance that Laura and Jasmine have. And that's only part of the book, of course. The like present part of the book is them figuring out what they are to each other now in present day. So maybe Last Kiss has a happy ending. Next song is Long Live.
Hold on, spinning around the confetti, tossing around ladies' memories.
Now today is Wednesday when I'm filming this, and I'm seeing Taylor again in Denver on Friday, and I am so happy she added Long Live to the set list. I cannot wait to experience that song with a stadium full of people. It's going to be incredible. This song, I can like work myself up and make myself cry just listening to it in my car, so I cannot imagine like actually being in the stadium with everyone singing this song and Taylor just being like so grateful. I'm gonna get emotional just talking about it. I love this concept and I love the song. And for this song, I'm recommending my last Tavia Lark book on this list, and that is Prince in Disguise. I just really had to recommend this one because this is a romance between Bellamy and Reikos, and Reikos is a dragon tamer, and this song references fighting dragons with you. And while they don't fight the dragons in this book, because the dragons are good, I just couldn't not include it. This is also just a very like magical song that references kingdoms and kind of like a fairy tale sort of esque vibe, which is very much what this book is. This book is set in the same world as the other 3 books by Tavia Lark that I recommended. It's in this fantasy world where everyone kind of has magic. There's magical beings and monsters and like witchcraft and wizardry and princes and princesses, court politics, intrigue, fantasy elements, all that kind of thing, which definitely fits the vibe of Speak Now as an album as a whole, and most certainly goes with this song. So I feel like Long Live and Prince in Disguise just mesh perfectly together. The next song on this album is Ours.
Don't you worry, your peace of mind. We'll turn out some things that shine like it's love, good heart. It's high. This love is ours.
Ours is a song that kind of talks about a romance that a lot of people look down on or have opinions on, that the narrator, the singer Taylor in the song, is not listening to because they're choosing that person regardless. So for this song, I'm going to recommend Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. This story follows the romance between Cassie and Aaron, and their romance is a bit forbidden. One, because they have a pretty major age gap between the two, and the second reason is that Cassie is actually best friends with Aaron's daughter. Aaron and Cassie meet during an anonymous hookup during family weekend at the college. Aaron goes to this bar that she thinks is far enough away from the college that she won't meet anyone from the college, but she meets Cassie, not realizing she's her daughter's best friend, until Cassie and her daughter show up to brunch the next morning. And she's like, what the hell, I just hooked up with my daughter's friend. And it was really just supposed to be a one-time thing, and then it was supposed to be a casual thing, but then they really just cannot stay away from each other because they just have this innate connection and this really beautiful romance. Reading this book, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to feel about the relationship dynamics, but I feel like Meryl Wilsner did a really good, respectful, sensical job of it. But I also really feel like this song encapsulates the relationship in this book because everyone in Cassie and Aaron's life has things to say about this relationship, thinks it's wrong, thinks it's not right, but Cassie and Aaron really come to like choose each other, which is beautiful and what this song is about. Next song is Superman. And for this song, I have to recommend Headcase by Only James. My friend Gabby helped me with a lot of recommendations on this list actually, but Headcase is probably one I would not have ever thought of without her, but it's so perfect. In this book, we're following Asa and Zane. Asa, this is the 5th book in Only James's Necessary Evil series, which follows this family of serial killers who go out and kill people who are all psychopaths, so they lack empathy and emotion, so it makes it really easy for them to kill people. But their father has kind of trained them, raised them to only kill bad people that the system misses, so really they're doing good things. They're doing vigilante work out in the community. In this book, Zane has kind of figured out the Mulvaney shtick and is a journalist and he's planning to expose them. And so when he meets Asa, he's like, this is my big ticket to infiltrate the family, really get the facts so I can truly expose this horrible operation that's going on. But along the way, Zane finds himself falling for Asa and they have a romance. This book is pretty BDSM heavy, so if you're not into that, I wouldn't recommend it, but I liked it. So I'm gonna recommend it. And one of the most obvious reasons this book is connected to Superman is because Asa thinks Zane is kind of nerdy, and so he nicknames him Lois, like Lois Lane from Superman. So I feel like that connection is just undeniable, but also just the concept. I can picture Zane singing this song to Asa because he's tall, dark, and mysterious. He's going off to save the world while Zane stays at home. And he's not all bad, his reputation is just perfect. Next are the From the Vault songs. I had a little bit of trouble finding books to recommend for these songs, but I think I found some good ones. And I think it's just because I don't know these songs as well yet. But the first one is, of course, Electric Touch.
Just one time. Oh, it's good to break my heart. Bring it back to life. I feel your electric touch. Feel this goes down with life.
And for this song, I want to recommend The Reek by Lily Mayne. I actually just reread this book with my friend Robin, and we just had a discussion about it. It was so much fun. I feel like it was just fresh on my brain, but I also feel like it really fits this song. So this is the 3rd book in Lily Mayne's Monstrous series, which is basically a series that takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where monsters have invaded Earth. It's set in America. The military has taken over America and has everyone in these safe zones on the coast. There are some people that are free from military protection and they live out in what's called the Waste, which is just the middle of the country, no man's land kind of thing. Each book follows a subsequent monster human male couple. So these are very gritty, sweet, spicy, lovely, wonderful romances, and I love them all. The Reek is one of my favorites in this series, and I feel like really kind of any of the books in this series could fit for this song, but I feel like I liked The Reek the best for this song. One, for the line, all I know is this could either break my heart or bring it back to life. Got a feeling your electric touch could fill this ghost town up with life. This is the first book in the series that's really set out in the Waste. well, they're all set on the waist, but the main character of the story, whose name is Ghost, by the way, another perfect connection. He lives out in the waste, like as a raider, full time. He lives in this camp with all of these other people that live out in the waste, and he meets Ori, who is a monster known as the Reek. And Ori is just this like sweet, gentle, unassuming person that everyone says is really quite scary and evil. Basically, this song is kind of about pining for someone, and boy do Ghost and Ori pine for each other. That aspect is definitely prevalent within their relationship, and kind of like the will they won't they play back and forth kind of situation type of deal. I think this song really fits Ori and Ghost's relationship, and you should definitely read it. Next song is When Emma Falls in Love. To me, this is the gayest song I've ever fucking heard in my life. To me, I can't imagine writing this about your platonic girlfriend, you know? Like, this is a song you write about your friend who you're in love with, but you don't know you're in love with yet, you know, like queer culture. That is what this song is. So for this song, I knew I had to pick a book with some girl-on-girl longing, you know? So for that, I'm going to recommend I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. Basically, this book follows our main character, Chloe, who is competing with Shara Wheeler for valedictorian and really wants to beat her fair and square. The only problem is a month before graduation, Shara kisses Chloe and then vanishes. And so Chloe must team up with two other people who Shara also kissed and left notes for, clues for on where she went to find her and bring her back before graduation so Chloe can win valedictorian fair and square, but maybe also because Chloe is a little bit in love with Shara, and Shara is very much like the it girl, the most popular girl in school, so I feel like that's kind of who Emma is in this song. And the best part is there's also a line in this song, when Emma falls in love, she disappears. Whereas Shara disappears in this book. I feel like this is a great recommendation for this song. And if you like this song, I feel like you definitely would like this book. The next song is I Can See You, which and for this song, I'm going to recommend Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. And I'm so happy with this recommendation. I just think this book is perfect for this song. In this book, we're following Shane and Ilya, who are two pro hockey players who have this infamous rivalry between them. Everyone in the industry believes they hate each other, but actually behind closed doors they're hooking up and maybe might be in love with one another. And I definitely get a secret steamy relationship vibe from the song, which is definitely what's happening in Heated Rivalry, especially the lines, and we keep everything professional, but something's changed. They keep a watchful eyes on us, so it's best that we move fast and keep quiet. I can see you in your suit and your necktie, passing me a note that says meet me tonight. Then we kiss and you know I won't ever tell. And I can see you being my addiction. You can see me as a secret mission. It really encapsulates Shane and Ilya's relationship. This is also just a classic of the MM romance genre. If you like MM romance and you haven't read this book, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You need to get it together and you need to read this book. And even if you don't, this is a good like gateway into the genre. This was one of my gateways into the genre, so I really love this book. It is so excellent. Next song is Castles Crumbling. This was one of the last songs that I came up with a recommendation for, but I feel like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid is a great rec for this song. It seems like everyone has read this book by now, but if you don't know, this book follows our main character, Evelyn Hugo, as she invites this journalist named Monique to be the final person who interviews her before she passes away, and she's going to give Monique all the dirt, all of the tea on her entire life, including her 7 husbands and her one true forbidden love. But throughout the story, we kind of learn that Evelyn Hugo is maybe not the best person, and some of the people in her life are not the best people, and although she had this amazing reputation in the golden age, her castles are kind of crumbling, and she does not have the same like reputation that she used to almost. She burnt a lot of bridges, she pissed off a lot of people along the way, and Monique is getting the full story. So I feel like this song is definitely a good match to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Next is Foolish One. You are not the exception. You will never learn your lesson. Foolish one.
like stuff. Checking your mailbox, working passion, the love that ain't never gonna go.
This was definitely a really hard match, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, but for this song I picked Moth by Lily Mayne. And the main reason that I picked this book is that Moth is just kind of a very anxious character who doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere, has this voice in his head telling him like he's not good enough to be loved, basically, which is kind of what this song is about. This song is also kind of just about like don't be delusional, but the lines, I know how to act like I'm fine, and it's delicate, but I will do my best to seem bulletproof, really reminded me of Moth in the story, because he really puts on this armor that he doesn't care about what's going on, that he is like kind of arrogant, but it's really just a mask because he's hurting so much inside. I forgot that I didn't tell you what this book is about. This is the 5th book in the Monstrous series by Lily Mayne. It's in the same series as The Reek, which I recommended earlier. Moth actually pines after Ghost, who is the character in The Reek, and so I feel like that is who Moth is waiting for love confessions for, but we'll never get because Ghost is in love with Ori, obviously. But Moth gets his own romance with Charlie in this book, and it's lovely and beautiful and wonderful, and Moth will get the love that he deserves. But I feel like definitely in the beginning and prior to in this series, the character of Moth kind of encapsulates this song. And last but not least is Timeless. This is a really beautiful song about like a once-in-a-lifetime love that is so wonderful that it is timeless, and the narrator believes that no matter where in time they were, that these two would have met and had the same kind of love that they have today. For this, I'm recommending One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. It follows August and Jane. August is taking the train to her job in New York City one day when she meets Jane, who, come to find out, is displaced in time from the 1970s and has just been riding the subway on an endless loop for years, unable to get out of this time loop. And August is really like the first one that sees her. And so August is determined to help her because, one, she just wants to help her, but along the way they also fall in love and they really want to be together, and they don't really understand how they can be together, but they're determined to make it work and make it happen despite the laws of physics. So I feel like the idea of a time loop, being displaced in time, meeting somebody from a different time is very reminiscent to the themes in Timeless, and I just feel like it's kind of a funny pairing, and I love how perfect it is. All right, and that is the video. That is a book recommendation for every single song on Speak Now, Taylor's version. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below what your favorite song on Speak Now, Taylor's version is. I would love to know. It's hard for me to choose, but definitely Haunted for me, Dear John, and Long Live, or maybe Back to December are probably my top 3-4. I love this whole album. This is like a no-skip album for me, except for maybe Last Kiss. I just love it so much. It is so good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to support the channel, give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more bookish queer content. You can also find me on pretty much every social media platform. All my links are down below. I've also linked for you every book that I mentioned in case you're interested. You can support my channel by buying through my Amazon link. It gives me a really tiny commission, and any other relevant links that I come up with will be in the description down below. So thank you again so much for watching and for being here. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.